Hello, everyone. It's Robert MacPhee, and welcome back to the Excellent Decisions podcast. I'm here today for what is actually a special edition of the podcast in a very historical time with this virus that we're all faced with. And I'm calling it the Wisdom Series because I realize that I have a tremendous amount of really wise people who I've had an opportunity to learn from and work with over the last 20 years or so. And I was realizing that having those people in my life was really helping me stay grounded, and I wanted to share that with as many people as I possibly could. So over the next 2 weeks, every day, I'll be connecting with one of those people, sharing their wisdom and their insight and their perspective with you in hopes of just helping us all get through this as easily and effectively as possible. And today I'm joined by David Meltzer, who is a good friend, truly a mentor to me as well. Incredible. Dave has been on the podcast before, so if you want the full bio, go and listen to the other episode. But Dave has had incredible success as a lawyer, running a sports agency, running a marketing company, and in the sports world in general. He also shares my commitment to helping as many people as possible. He's put a big number on that called 1 billion people be happy, truly happy. And he also has a really strong commitment to helping people make a really big contribution in the world. So David, I am thrilled to have you joining us at this crazy time. How are you today?
I'm terrific, and I call it co-mentorship, right? I consider you one of my wise mentors, and I just am honored, as far as any bio or any introduction you could give me by Robert, you saying that I'm one of your mentors, that's all that needs to be said.
It's a great way to go through life, right? It's true with that happiness thing. If we're all trying to make each other happy, how well does that go?
Exactly. Serotonin is the virus that I'm spreading. So
there you go. There you go.
It spreads fast, man. The receivers, the givers, and the witnesses is the only disease that can be spread by witnessing it. How about that?
And hopefully there's a little less resistance. So
yeah.
So again, I'm calling this the Wisdom Series. And actually, before we start, I want to just invite people to pause because we are living in such a crazy time. And this is an opportunity to really tap into some wisdom. And I just want to invite people who are listening to this to pause and take a breath and just make yourself present, bring yourself present, and create an open space. And as I was preparing for this, I jumped on a little early to make sure I was here ahead of Dave. And it just occurred to me that we all are so surrounded by craziness and busyness and noise right now. If we're going to receive the wisdom, we really have to open up to it. And the second part of that is to open up to our own wisdom. So I hope that the two of us are able to help you and be valuable today. But I also believe that the most valuable wisdom will come from within for each of us. So with that stage being set, like for you, Dave, like, what's your perspective on kind of what's going on right now? What's your take on this crazy environment that we find ourselves in?
It's more a perception and a mindset of two things. Stability, right? I know that the one thing that will hold us all together is a stable environment, stable data, stable relationships, stable health. And so one of the key things that I'm looking at is, okay, how, number one, do I stabilize myself? And the analogy I use is my favorite, which is the Southwest Airlines, which I used to fly a lot up to visit people like you up there in San Francisco and Arizona. But my favorite airline opening is, put your face mask on yourself first and then onto your child or people in need. And then they had the additive, which applies for today, is if you have more than one child, which I do, I have 4, pick the one with the most potential first and then work your way down. That's literally my philosophy of what I'm doing today is I am stabilize myself. I am stabilizing those most relative and most important to me and working my way down. And then as an additive, the second perspective is opportunity. I think those people that are stable have a responsibility to find opportunity to make the money move. I believe money is the currency of this vibration. I talked about culture and cash are the two things business-wise that I'm most focused in on. But, money doesn't disappear, but it slows down. And in these type of situations in 97, 2001, 2008, money slowed down. what we have as an accountability and responsibility as people who are stabilized is we got to keep things moving. We got to make sure this money moves, put everything back in the flow, the energy back into the flow, so that we can create the abundance that we all want and we all deserve.
Yeah, it's such a great point, and I love the airplane analogy as well, because we do have to take care of ourselves. It's a really important time for self care, and another thing that I know you and I really have in common is family being a huge priority and looking there next. But also for those of us who do, and it is an opportunity to remember all the blessings that we have in our life, and for those of us who do have the opportunity, who do have the means, to look around us and see so many people who are challenged by this. I'll just speak for myself. I look around and see a lot of people who are challenged a lot more than I am. And I love what you're saying about reaching out and finding ways to support those people as well. One of the things I mentioned in introducing you is this concept of happiness. And I know you've made a commitment to, and it's a big part of the conversation that you and I are both in. And I think we look at happiness in a very similar way. Um, do you see a connection? I mean, to me, this is a great time to get away from the traditional definition of happiness, which is, oh, there's a virus and people are dying, but I'm still smiling. That's not happy. Like what your perspective of happiness? How does that fit into this whole conversation?
Yeah, so I take happiness with a lens, and it has what I call a kaleidoscope. I named it my Meltzer kaleidoscope because I have a weird view of the world. But I look at the world and happiness as number one, productivity. A lens of productivity as I look at everything. And so the lessons that are coming our way, and that's all I see, is a period of reengineering and reformation, of reconstruction and repurpose. But I look at all of these things, whatever you want to define it as productive. How productive can I be? How much value can I provide? That's what productivity is, providing value. And then I use the second lens of accessibility. And the key to happiness is being accessible to others to provide that value and receive value. And accessibility is that duality of how accessible am I to others and how am I accessing what I want. And then finally, of course, known for both of us, a lens of gratitude. Gratitude is the most powerful thing in perspective. And we can be grateful for everything that we have. And it makes our past better, our future even brighter, and our present great. And so if I'm looking at life with this lens of happiness, productivity, accessibility, and gratitude, I can find the light, the love, and the lessons in anything that you can throw my way. I am a try me person, right? Not a why. And I've been preaching this to my kids for 13 years. Ever since I lost everything, I said, you know what? I'm going back to my roots: gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, and inspiration. But there's two things that made Dave Meltzer: toughness and the telephone. Right? I was born in really dire circumstances, single mom, etc. But I told myself that I was a try me person, and I'm going to live by toughness, and I'm going to enjoy expanding and getting tough and expanding my wings. And then my superpower is hardly anyone on earth can use a telephone as well as me and move people with intonation, connotation, and inspiration via a telephone. And no more are those two things that I set forth 13 years ago more valuable than now. And, I'm going through my telephone as an exercise, by the way, Robert, pragmatically to help people. I'm going through my telephone person, and there's thousands. I mean, way too many people on my phone, but I'm asking myself, can I reach out and help this person? Should I reach out and make this person feel better and use that virus of serotonin to overcome all? And serotonin does actually strengthen the immune system, by the way, besides make you happy. It's a super virus, man. It
Yeah.
can be spread by witnesses and it makes your immune system better. But I also am looking at names in my phone that I don't need. Right? I'm doing an inventory. That phone is somebody I'm not going to call to help right now, and it's sat in my phone for no reason for 15, 20 years. I'm letting it go. And if that person comes back to me, then I know that I need them in my life. So I'm utilizing this as a flushing and as a release on so many different levels to take a snapshot of this time and take inventory of my personal experiential and giving and receiving values, and go ahead and allow myself to expand and grow from it with this Meltzer's kaleidoscope, this lens of happiness.
Yeah. So I have two questions for you about that. First of all, I think your kids are a little younger than mine. My youngest is 22 now, but are they? You mentioned sharing this stuff with your kids, which what a blessing, right? That they get to grow up in that kind of environment. But are they giving it back to you yet? Like my kids are giving it back to me. All those lessons that I shared with them. You know, I say
Yeah.
they grew up while I was working with Jack Canfield, which is great. But now they give it right back to me.
Isn't it good that though that we get no credit? You know, Dennis Waitley said, you know, I'm planting seeds under trees I'll never sit under. But I love when my kids come back with stuff that's actually in my own books. And they'll tell me that a professor of theirs at Tulane or IU, a professor of theirs told them, you know, this, you know, to be more interested than interesting, or something that literally I know they must be listening to me and what genius it is. And I'm like, this is such joy for my kids to teach my own wisdom to me from somebody else. Because you never know. I'm planting seeds every single day right now.
Right.
I don't know if they'll be watered by me or someone else. And I am planting seeds under trees I'll never sit under. And I'm perfectly humbled by it. And I think everyone knows and hopefully can pursue their potential to do that, because everyone has the seeds to give. And, you know, give your wisdom and your strength to others and receive the strength that they have. And it will only strengthen us all.
Well, and it's such a powerful reminder at this particular time, because you're reminding me and anyone who's listening that, you know, with everything that's going on, we're taking care of ourselves. It is that airplane mask thing. We got to take care of ourselves first, and then our loved ones, and you know, the circle starts to expand. But the truth is, people are watching. You know, for those of us who are leaders, people are watching and they're noticing. They're looking for guidance. They're following our lead, and you know, if we go crazy and we panic and whatever, that's one way to model. And if we, you know, go back to the vision and values and what's really important to us, that's another way. So super important. I also, you talked about accessible being one of those kind of three pillars. It's interesting right now because our accessibility, especially in terms of other people, as so many of us have been asked to stay home and avoid contact with other people. What are your thoughts about ways that we can maintain that accessibility when literally some of the mechanisms that we just take for granted, to be able to go to a party or go out to dinner at a restaurant or whatever it might be, have been kind of taken away from us?
Yeah, I think you have to connect, right? We are polis. We are humanity connected to one another. A tree does not have branches, and you need to use all these unbelievable technologies from Zoom to FaceTime. And if you don't have that type of connectivity, you know, use the old school telephone. People, the voice holds vibration. It holds a frequency, and that
Mhm.
frequency makes us feel good. In the recognition and the acknowledgement. Remember, recognition is to remember, is to unify, and you know, all of these to acknowledge is to acquire the knowledge. Well, we don't acquire the knowledge by separating. We acquire knowledge by connecting. You know, when I stand on stage, and I know, Robert, you do the same, you channel. We'll walk off a stage and have no idea what we said. Uh, we,
Where did that come from?
exactly. But the same holds true, acknowledging the connection and unification between others, right? We are able to channel ourselves to another, the energy, the inspiration, the wisdom that we have. We need to acknowledge each other for our strengths, for our weakness. We have to share our wisdom, to share each other. And so, you know, if I'm a very pragmatic person when it comes to time, and this is a great time to study time, but I give minimums amount of time every day, a minimum of an hour on my health, a minimum of 30 minutes with my wife, 30 minutes with my 9-year-old, 2 minutes with my teenage daughters, 1 minute with my mom. I now give a minimum of an hour a day to reach out, either FaceTime, Zoom, or telephone, to connect and acknowledge and remember and recognize other people. And because I want this virus of serotonin to overcome the other virus, and I know it will, because these videos, remember, you know, I'm going to help share this video, and I know, you know, through our network, millions of people are going to watch this little video through us, and that's what I hope, because it's going to provide the serotonin virus, and it's going to overcome, and we need to keep sharing that and connecting with others, most importantly, Robert.
Yeah, for sure. So the last question I had for you, I mean, I mentioned in the quick introduction I gave, you had incredible success in the business world in a lot of different arenas. And I know there's a lot of hard work. I know you're really committed and a great example of, you know, the success principles that our mutual friend Jack Canfield teaches. But for people who, and I think people who are listening are probably, and on all scales of the working world, from a frontline, working person all the way to someone who owns a really large company. What are your thoughts right now about, for people in terms of their career, in terms of their business, with everything that's going on? What are some important things to remember in this time?
There's three things to remember, in my opinion, to help everyone, no matter what their situation is, with their professions and their employment and their career. Number one, remember, professions, careers, and employments are based on your skills. So what a great opportunity to develop the skills that you have and skills that you want. There's an extraordinary opportunity right now that we've never been given before at all ages and all professions, because we are forced to be into a certain situation where we don't have as many distractions. Believe it or not, I know people are talking, I got 3 teenage daughters, like so many distractions. I'm like, what world do you live in? Because when I'm at the office or on an airplane, or there's so many distractions. So go ahead and focus in on the skills that you have and develop those, and as well as the skills that you need. Secondly is knowledge. We are blessed with this unbelievable technology to acquire knowledge, and there's so many great things to do, like these videos, but our mentors and Jack Canfield and Bob Proctor and all the wonderful people that you can access now instantly for free. And if anybody wants my stuff, it's all for free. I'll even ship you my book and pay for shipping. I don't care, but acquire the knowledge, acquire more knowledge, expand and accelerate during this period. What a great opportunity to innovate and to find and create. And then finally, most importantly, develop desire. What makes the cream rise to the top, no matter what the circumstances are. And I will tell you, when things get more competitive and things get tougher, the cream rises to the top. It's less competitive for the real deals. And the real deals have one thing in common. They must be what they can be. And so what we want to do is really utilize and develop that mindset, and develop the I get to do, not I got to do, the try me, not the why me, and truly inspire yourself. Clear that connection, that interference, the corrosion you've created with ego. Find out when you have the need to be offended and right and separate and guilty and fearful and anxious. When a lemon is squeezed, lemon juice comes out. What's happening now is you are the lemon, and you're going to get squeezed, and you're going to find out what's truly inside of you. So it's time to develop what's truly inside of you, and you get the honor and the privilege to find out what's inside of you as well as others. So I think if you really focus on the skills, the knowledge, and the desire during this time, you will come out the other side of this with stronger wings, just like a caterpillar busting out of his cocoon. This is a new cocoon for you. Go ahead, enjoy the struggle, but realize when you get out of this cocoon, those skills, knowledge, and desires that you have built up will allow you to fly higher than you ever dreamed of.
Awesome. So for anyone who's listening to this, what I want to encourage you to do is pause, hit rewind, and listen to what Dave just said. Not only what he said, but the way he said it, because I think it's such a powerful example of a really effective way to approach the situation that we're in. And we can maintain our passion and our commitment and our scanning the horizon for the opportunities, the lemonade in that lemon juice that you were talking about. So this is just really great. I really appreciate you doing this. We're going to make sure and get this posted so people can also get a link to, I know you're going on and doing a video presentation of your own tomorrow. I want to make sure people have access to that. Before we wrap up, anything else that you would want to share? Anything else that you would want to add?
For me, it's really an opportunity. So think stabilization first. And once you get stable, and go then utilize the opportunity to stable other people. People will ask me all the time when they're unemployed or sick, or they have, real challenges and doubt. They've lost their faith. I'm going to get choked up, but what they ask me is, what should I do? It's free, but go help somebody. I don't care. I don't care how low you are, how sick you are, how poor you are. The minute you make room for what you want by helping somebody else, you're going to feel good. You're going to create that virus I'm talking about called serotonin, and you're going to change the world with me. You're going to be one of the over 1 billion people in the world that are going to impact others to be happy. So go out there, be kind to your future self, and do good deeds. That's all I have to say, and that's how I'd like to end. So I appreciate the opportunity, Robert.
Well, it's perfect, and it's a statement of exactly how I ended up committing to do these videos, is that desire to reach out. Like, what can I do? How can I help? And we're all faced with a lot of stress and pressure right now, but there are opportunities we can do, and it doesn't have to be, come up with the vaccine. It's like, who can you help? If you ask yourself that question, who can you help? You will certainly come up with an answer. So thank you again for joining us. I really appreciate it. For people who are watching this, know that there's also a connection, a link somehow. I have no idea how it's going to happen because I'm just figuring this out on the fly. But there will be a way to connect with Dave and the work that he's doing, and to learn more about the whole series of videos that I'm going to be doing over the next 2 weeks. So Dave, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Speaking for my community, we appreciate your willingness to join us and support. And my best to you and to your family as we all hunker down. And hopefully we'll be getting back to normal sooner rather than later. Thank you so much.
God bless you. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
You're my friend. Bye-bye.